The Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission is responsible for the oversight of the securities industry, ensuring that it operates in a fair, transparent, and efficient manner in order to protect the rights of investors. Now, for the last 8 years, they've been celebrating National Investor Month in May to coincide with actually their anniversary. This morning, I want to welcome the Manager of Corporate Communication and Education at TTSEC, Ms. Ellen Lewis, who joins us on set to give us some education this morning. Good morning to you, Ms. Lewis.
Good morning, Marcus, and good morning to your viewers.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
All right, so first of all, let's get down into the nitty-gritty of it. As an investor, what rights do I have to begin with?
Well, there are 5 fundamental rights that you possess. The right to information, the right to ask questions, the right to choose, the right to comparison shop, and the right to redress. Now, what is meant by that? If you're considering an investment, you have a right to information about the investment, about the entity offering the investment. You have a right to be made aware of any risk associated with the investment.
Okay.
A right to know about the company of itself, that is to say its financial statements, in particular its income balance sheet, as well as its cash flow statement. You have a right to know about the broker-dealer, his track record, what is his past performance? Are there any complaints against him or her, as the case would be? In terms of when we talk about comparison shop, now critically for you, and this is a means of protecting you as well, you should refer to the TTSEC website. We have a list of all securities, all investments, all entities dealing in securities. So that if you don't see the company's name there, the security there, it means you ought to ask particular questions.
Right. So anybody who's offering that sort of brokerage service should be registered with the TT?
No, not should, must.
Okay.
You must. So if the person's name is not there, the broker-dealer or the investment advisor or the entity of itself, they must register with the SEC. That's a means of protecting the investor.
Of course. How else do we identify fraudulent investments?
Well, that's a key way.
But definitely.
Right? Definitely unregistered with the SEC, that's a key way.
Yeah.
Also, if it is the investment in of itself seems so good to be true, they're offering guarantees. Say, for instance, I come to you and I say to you, Raucus, I'll double your investment by 100% over the life of the investment. That in itself is suspect. Yeah. There's no guarantee for any investment. There's no guarantee. Prices fluctuate. Returns fluctuate. And so if I can't guarantee double your money.
Right. But there are people that offer guarantees, like when we take bonds and things like that.
That's different. Because there are 4 asset classes.
Okay.
One is equities, and I'm referring to stocks and shares. The other one is fixed interest, like government bonds. Then we have property, commodities like oil, infrastructure, and then you have low interest bonds like government bonds. Right. Which is what, for instance, NIF is that's a low risk investment. Okay. They will tell you what your guarantees are, what your interest is, and when you're going to get paid. That's different. Okay. That's different if you're dealing with equities. That's a more higher risk investment.
Understood.
So if it's a government bond,
then you have guarantees.
You have guarantees. And of course, cash or cash equivalents, treasury bills and so on. You have guarantees there.
All right. I just want to make sure we clarify that part of it so people understand.
The type of investment is important.
The type of investment makes a difference. Yes. All right. So if somebody happens to unfortunately be a victim of fraud, how do we, what sort of redress do they have? Okay,
there are 2 types of redress you can get. Let's treat first with if you have a legitimate investment with a registered entity. Right. And you have complaints about being misled. And so therefore you ought to first go through the complaint process of the entity of itself. Where that fails, you come to the SEC. Right. We are the arbiter for all securities disputes or the investment disputes. Now, however, if you're dealing with a scam, not a legitimate investment, right, that's a different matter entirely. What you can do then, we now have, effective December 2021, we amended the securities law to allow for criminalizing what we call prohibited schemes. What I'm speaking to?
The pyramid schemes. There we go. Prohibited pyramid. I understand what you was doing there.
Now we know, Raucus, that you won't ever fall victim of a prohibited scheme or a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme. But if you do, if you organize, for instance, a prohibited scheme, you are liable to, on summary conviction, of course, if you organize that particular scheme, 10 years in jail and a fine of $10 million.
And what about the people who fall victim to that scheme?
If you knowingly, the key word here is knowingly. Right. You must knowingly participate. If you claim you have no knowledge, therefore you are liable So if you knowingly participate in an investment, what you call prohibited scheme, such as Ponzi or pyramid, you're liable to 5 years in prison and $5 million penalty.
Even if you lost your money in a pyramid scheme?
If you knowingly.
If you knowingly lost your money in a pyramid scheme, you're likely to go to jail and lose your money.
Once you knowingly participate in a prohibited scheme.
All right, let's talk about people who may be ignorant to what they're actually participating in. So somebody comes to me and says, hey, we have an investment opportunity here, give me $5,000 now, and I will organize to make sure in 3 months' time you get back at $10,000.
Well, I've just indicated to you that there's no, when it comes to those type of schemes, which is what we would call them, you would first want to determine whether it's legitimate.
Right.
Clearly, it is not legitimate. In terms of whether the red flags to look forward to.
Okay.
I would just share with you that there are no guarantees when it comes to certain types of investment. This is one of them. So therefore, you do your checks and balances, inquire into the entity of itself. Is it registered with the SEC? A red flag.
Right.
What guarantees are they offering? Are they rushing to sell you something? Are they making promises to you? Are they making you feel special? Oh, because, only because of you.
Just because, as is you now.
As is you.
As is you.
And you are so good to us. I'll make this investment only to you alone, another elite or exclusive group of persons. You're elite, you're special. All these things are red flags.
Okay.
Importantly as well, when we speak about fraudulent schemes, the persons who advertise or promote these fraudulent schemes are also subject under the law. And they can face a fine of, I think it's $2 million or 3 years imprisonment. No, it's and there, it's not all.
Also, you had to pay the money and so long in jail.
Yes.
Noted.
You see, the intent really, you would have seen over the years that our job is to protect the investor. And so therefore, we recognize over the years that persons, for different reasons, they fall victim to these get-rich-quick schemes.
But we all want to get rich quick, don't we?
But be wise about your investment, which is why we say to educate yourself first.
Speaking of education, does the TTSEC provide any sort of information for those who want to invest?
Yes, in fact, one of our core functions as a regulator,
right.
in fact, all regulators, is to educate the population as to making wise investments. And we have a very strong and robust public education program. We go to schools, to NGOs, government institutions, private sector, you name it, we're always there. We also have a website devoted exclusively to promoting investor education. They find brochures, courses on investing, tools, calculators, everything you need to be an informed investor.
How do you determine what the public needs when it comes to that information and that education?
Well, critically, in every exercise we utilize social media because it's a more cost-effective means of engaging, and you can reach a wide swath of persons.
And you have the data there to analyze as well.
Precisely. So use those measurements. We also, this year, interestingly, we're having a national brand awareness, perception, and knowledge-based survey. It's our first since 2016. We haven't one since 2016.
Okay.
And that begins from May the 6th to June. And we want persons to get involved, participate. If once you do, we're able to shape our investment programs, our education programs, and to tailor it to suit the particular markets that we service. And
see what people exactly need.
Yes, we realize a gap in our education program. Where are we failing? Why aren't we reaching people? Why are they still making these mistakes every year repeatedly? So we have to ensure as far as possible that we provide simple, easy to understand information for the public.
Okay.
And once we would have done that, it's up to you to make your decision.
Fantastic.
But you can't say
that you didn't know.
You didn't have information to make the right choice.
All right. So tell me about National Investor Month. I know it's celebrated in May, but how are we celebrating this year?
Well, this year we have a series of activities planned. We begin with the launch at Long Circular Mall. We have an exhibition Long Circular Mall. I want to thank the management there for allowing us to use the facility for this purpose. So that's going to take place on the 2nd, which is the actual anniversary of the SEC, May the 2nd. We then have a collaboration with the Financial Leadership Secretariat in Tobago House of Assembly, and we're proposing to have a investor starter session at the Scarborough Library. That's on the 16th. We're also meeting with a few of the unions this month as well. We know public funds have a lot of money. We're hoping they still have it saved somewhere. And we want them to invest that money in secured investment. Well, it's not secured investment, but in investments, whether it be in equities, treasury bills, whatever we want to invest it in, bonds, whatever. But we want to begin engaging. We've always been engaging. We've been meeting with Tutor, the prison service. We're also meeting a few schools during the month as well. We also have a radio series that we plan to commence on May 1st to 31st on social media as well, promoting the ABCs of investing.
Okay.
So we're hoping that during that month when we heighten awareness about investing, about the securities market, that person become better prepared.
Yeah.
Because we want to encourage people. I think we don't understand that having their money resting in the bank, have the money work for you instead.
I firmly agree with that. And I was going to ask you, what would you say to somebody who's never invested and why should they invest? But I think you just answered that. If it's better to have your money working for you than to just have it sit down there under the mattress, not making no money, or sit down in the bank, not making no money for you.
Working for somebody else.
Working for somebody. Thank you very much for joining us this morning,
okay.
Ms. Alice. I thank you very, very much, and I appreciate it because I think a lot of times people don't understand the importance of investment and how you can save your money, yes, but you can also invest your money so that you make money off your money.
And I think it's important, before I leave that, determine what you want to do and what your goals are. Why do you want to save? Why do you want to invest? You can say, for instance, you want for wealth creation,
right,
to enjoy vacations. You may want to invest for retirement.
Or for the next generation.
You may want to invest, so you want to project, you want to buy a car in 3-5 years. You have a fixed period, a fixed objective as to what you want to do.
Right.
What's my goal? Why do I want to invest? But importantly, as you would have said, it's about wealth creation, creating generational wealth. Don't just think about today, think about tomorrow.
Think about tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Alan Lewis, for joining us this morning. And happy National Investment Education Month to you as well.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
No
Thank
problem.
you for having us.
We'll take a quick break and we come back with more in our morning show. When we come back, we head to UE for the garden party. Stay tuned.